You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, Movable University, the Universal Tractioning System, Imaging Services, and Zingit Solutions. Let's hustle. I am live with Dr. Fred Schofield. He is down there in Phoenix, Arizona, down in there in the Grand Desert. And I am in the Grand Valley of Grand Junction, which is on the western slope, which I like to say where no one lives. And I came here because I wanted to hear the birds chirp. But before we jump into Dr. Fred's talk, I'm going to recognize our sponsor today. Today's sponsor is Zingit Solutions. I think Dr. Fred uses them, and Nate told me to pick them as a sponsor today. Maybe he can talk a little bit about how that's helped him with his scheduling and reminders for his practice members. But welcome to the show, Dr. Fred Schofield.
Thank you, Dr. Jim.
Hey, man. Sometimes I get so many emails that come through that say Dr. Jim.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, man, when you're on purpose, people, they get confused with your passion and your intensity and your emotion. And yeah, it's been honorable. I think that the chiropractic profession just needs more megaphone status and people telling the truth about it.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, we did have to have a lawsuit to sort it out. When you think of the forces that be, that the old timers in the 30s and 40s, they were persecuted like crazy. So, no other profession's been persecuted. So if you're struggling in practice, just remember the forces that be are not on our side.
Yeah,
they have no scruples.
Yeah, I love my Bob Marley quote that I say a lot lately is the bad guys don't take a day off, so why should I?
Correct. But Bob Marley, he got severely subluxated too, hey?
Mm-hmm.
So man, take it easy with this. Take it easy. Like our friend, send some white light to the healing process.
Yeah, big shout out to Danny Knowles out there in Boulder, Colorado. All of our prayers should be going towards him right now. Right. I know that he's going through some type of a major surgery. I don't know what the status on his life is, but if all of us band together and push all of our energy towards Danny Knowles and say some prayers, I'd appreciate that from every single one of you.
Yeah, it says that in the big book. That was the true light, which lighteth every man or woman that cometh into the world. That's the light we're talking about. That's the tone. That's the sound. That's the sound. The tone of health is a tone. It's a frequency. It's a fantastic concept. It's the whole frequency of the universe. There's a spectrum of light, but that's just on the man-made scale. The whole thing is light. There was a beginning. No, there wasn't. How could there be? The finite cannot comprehend the infinite. No matter how hard we try, we can send out a rocket ship to the other sides, to the edge of the cosmos. But you see, the cosmos is dynamic. I studied cosmology. My goodness.
I know, you're just getting started too.
You can get cranked up on this thing, on this frequency. And that's why I still practice, Jim, because the adjusting actually in a clinical setting grounds you. Okay? And that's where the magic is. Man, I had some patients this morning that were just, I went in yesterday, 4th of July, freedom. See, but I mean, I've got some sick patients, see, and I like them. The sicker they are, the better they are for me, because they challenge my clinical certainty. Can I get this job done?
Mm-hmm.
On this patient, because it's important to who? To that patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a principle. The principle came second, Jim. Second. First came the adjustment, and that sent DD, who was a critical thinker. So then he observed what happened. We've had geniuses in chiropractic. You just have to study. I studied with some of the greatest minds that have ever walked on the earth. I was in the zone. I got to school. I was 25 years old. My roommate was 27. So we weren't kids anymore. See, chiropractic, the tick part. The tick part. That's what I got into it for. My father was a medical doctor. He said it's all in your head. There's somebody listening who thinks it's all psychology. I'm going to tell you, it's not. If your physiology breaks down, you're done. I don't care how your psychology is. The physiology breaks down because of the frequency of the love, the afferentation internal to that being. And that's why we don't worry about numbers and all that thing. And that's for people that get a job. See, you got to be so prepared that honestly, I'm so prepared that I know what I'm doing in a month's time, in 6 months' time, on Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Preparation is the difference.
And you've been doing this for how long?
I've been in practice 37 years, but I've been studying chiropractic for 40 years, because when my back pain went away, and I have a thing called Bertolotti syndrome, which means that I have a pseudo-articulation, doesn't mean the layperson needs, but if they have one, we are lifetime patients, because we have distortions on, you can be all vitalistic, but mechanical distortions in the spine, which cause, if I don't get adjusted weekly, I still get that back pain starts to stiffen up on me. That's a fact. And you say, well, did you go and get the emotional release? Screw the emotional. Give me an adjustment.
So I know that you trained some of the most successful chiropractors to ever walk the earth as well, not just the influencers, but the guys that people don't even know are out there that are just really being leaders in their performance and leaders in their communities. Let's talk about Rhino coaching and why you started it and the impact that you've seen happen because of your influence.
Well, we've trained 25,000 of our profession.
Wow.
So that should tell you something. And we're still around. We're more successful today than we ever have. And our clients that I coach, and I was a professional coach. When you see mindset anywhere in chiropractic, they got it from us. You just know that. Because I always said it's the internal concussion of forces. The internal. See, it's on the afferent side. The subluxation is not the cause. I was taught that in second quarter. The subluxation is an effect of a cause. Bones. Whoa. We're not interested in bones. Bones is just access into the system. We're interested in afferentation. Not all parts of the spinal cord are the same. They're not all the same. See? There's a difference between your head. That's why the guillotine. The French understand chiropractic really good. Put them on a guillotine and drop it down at the atlas. Done. Do that at the sacrum. You're not done. So there is a different aspect. Our office is called Atlas Chiropractic Center for a reason. Why? Because the afferentation, we're interested in the tonality of the afferents that go into the spine. So when we say the brain stem is above and the tissue cells below, it's interesting. I wrote a little booklet. I've read in a few little books called The Physiology of the Innate Mind. Okay? And you can see right there is the most important, the law of internal concussion of forces. What goes in, input equals output. You can't expect output if you haven't done any input. What, are you crazy? If you don't put any water into the swimming pool, how do you expect the swimming pool? My goodness, it's crazy. So the brain cell is actually, Jim, down here. And the tissue cell is your physiology, which actually has intelligence. It's all backwards. The gut most important part of you. So how long have I been saying take Corella? Since 85. Wuji Corella. Since 1985, I've been on it.
Yeah.
I was addicted to cigarettes. I used to light my father's cigarette every morning as a kid. Well, if you do that 365 days, and I did, my father never took holidays. He was a medical doctor and a wine farmer, and he spent 3 years in a German POW camp. So don't tell me he was happy. See? Now, you know what? I took Corella. I detoxed, became more alkalized, haven't had a smoke in going on 10 years now. Can't stand it. Can't understand. It left my body because, as I showed you earlier, I wear my heart rate monitor on. And I exercise according to my heart rate, called alpha coherence training. That's where our training started. People couldn't understand my energy. See, they don't get it. They go, oh, he's shouting. No. That's a different frequency. 528 frequency is the love frequency. Middle C, 528. And the broadcasters, have altered the frequency of broadcasting. Yeah. Go check that out.
They took the love out of it, man.
Sure they did.
Yeah.
Sure did. So
they
we
want
started Rhino.
They want to scramble everyone.
We started Rhino coaching because everybody wanted to know what's going on. And what we do is there's two ways to motivate yourself. You're either moving towards something exciting. Your future must be more exciting than your past. Or you're moving so focused on the pain in your life that you're moving away from. See? Now, away from motivation, here's what's interesting, Jim. Guys I've coached, and I'm proud to be a coach. I was a professional coach. It ain't about catching the ball. These aren't kids. These are getting paid to get people in the stand. So you've got to be good. And what do we do at every practice? Stick to the fundamentals. Stick to the basics. The World Cup soccer's on, even though America doesn't know. But for us that are global, we know the World Cup soccer's on. Those guys you wouldn't even touch the ball from some of those players. Not one of them would you touch the ball. They will keep it away from you.
Whole time.
You just have to go on to YouTube and type in Maradona and have a look. And the skills are better today than they were then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And their skills. That means they play with the ball every day of their life.
Fundamentals. The basics every day.
Chiropractic is about fundamentals. When you've got the Schofield functional analysis and you get it down, and then you work on your mindset. Afferentation. Listen, the internal mindset is the most neglected part of chiropractic. It's not philosophy, but it's part of principles. That your thought patterns direct. Even D.D. Palmer. Auto-suggestion. Internal dialogue is what holds you back.
So let's talk about this affirmation game.
I'm not bragging, but I'm 63. 64 this month, and I work out.
Happy birthday.
I work out. I do pull-ups. I do push-ups. But all according to my heart rate. Called coherence. You're going to hear a lot of coherence, man. If you haven't heard of alpha coherence, go to mochichu.com and type in ACT. Alpha coherence training. I invented it. I started coherence because coherence is what I've been talking about. I wrote another little book called 6 Levers. And here's the 6. That's coherence training. See, suddenly what you eat is important. Yeah, it's part of your training. What you think is important, affirmations, part of your training.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy in practice when you know, oh my goodness, there they are. You receive out of life what you put in. Of course, how can you the strength of my effort equals the size of my results. If I put massive effort in, and then the most important, all my affairs are in divine order.
Yeah, after you poured into me last year at New Beginnings, in October. I've been doing these affirmations 3 times a day, every day. And I'm going to share with our audience a little bit of the one card today. These things are called Power Thoughts One. Actually, these were designed for chiropractors, not the lay guy like me, but I'm kind of an educated lay guy. But I receive out of life what I put in. That's a practice. The strength of my efforts equals the size of my results. It's evident. Everything that I've been doing lately, Fred, has been grandiose and growing by magnitude and influence. It's just an amazing path that I'm on. And like you said,
Unbelievable.
my future is going to be an amazing, blessed future. And it's going to outweigh these past 39 years that I've walked this planet. And the next 10 years are just going to be astronomical.
Correct.
I concentrate on the present moment. That's why I believe that what we do together, Fred, right now, the people that are listening, they are going to benefit greatly from the information that we share with them, because you're going to tell them about this love frequency here in a second.
Correct.
I do all that I can do today. I mean, how right on is that? I do all that I can do today. I mean, if you guys want to step up, there's no time for taking the plays off. There's no time for it. You have to be in the game. You know, when I talk to people about my position, I kind of give them the American football analogy, Fred. I say, I'm an all down back. If you need me to block, I'll sit and block. If you need that hard yard for 4th and goal, I'll run it in. If you want me to run out there and to block for the receiver, I'll do it. So Americans really understand American football. So when you understand that there's an all down back, like they can play all 4 downs, that's an important player on that field. So that's the position I like to do for the chiropractic profession, is to play all plays.
Yeah.
And the only thing I don't do is call insurance and adjust.
That's it.
But I am
Here's
organized.
Here's the greatest. This is a takeaway. They use that word now. It's like I'm 64 this month, Jim. And if I come back 100,000 lifetimes, I'll be a chiropractor every time. Now, chiropractic's funny because, see, Amazon, if you create CDs and sell them, you better be careful, because Amazon's coming after you. There's not a Walmart are scared of Amazon. Everybody except me, because they don't have hands, and people pay for expertise, Jim. They pay for my smarts. I'll turn any chiropractor around, but they got to do what I tell them to do. And we got the biggest practices in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, in Israel. We got the biggest guns on the planet. And you can bring any party you want to us. We'll take care of business. And if we don't know, I got professors who taught me who do know. And I'm not shy. I was never shy to call them up and say, listen, I'm going to send you this x-ray. Can you just check it out and tell me what you would do? See, I'm not shy. Why? Because my goal is not numbers, Jim. It's not numbers. It's results. You get results. People say, oh, my technique's the best, man. I got the best. I said, where are your referrals? If it's so damn good, where are your referrals? Oh, I get 1 referral a month. Your technique stinks. Nobody likes it. And you know the funny thing, Jim? You don't hear audibles in our office. No, what? You cannot believe. I have patients from the South Tucson, Arizona, driving up to see me for an adjustment. They get 2 a day. They get 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And then they go back. See? Why? Because my expertise. People don't like their necks cracked. Chiropractic's not about manipulation. It's about the adjustment. And that's the difference.
That's right on.
And Amazon, the biggest in the business, has put out. Netflix has shut down Blockbuster, and we're still going. You couldn't get a better profession than this. Nobody can take these. Unbelievable. And we stand around and you see, the worst thing a chiropractor can do, Jim, the worst thing anybody can do is compare themselves to somebody else. And I don't teach that. I don't teach act like me, walk like me, talk like you try and do that for an hour, you'll get tired. Because I'm relentless, but only on certain days. See, not relentless all the time, because you can't be. You have to have recovery days. That's the coherence.
Mm-hmm. So our X-ray sponsor with 2020 Imaging and Imaging Services, Michael Tokash, says I would drive from Philly.
I'm telling you, he's putting in my digital X-ray, that son of a gun. And I've had a digital, but with cassettes. Now I'm going direct, baby, direct. Heat it up.
Yes, sir.
We've had 2020 for a long time because they do the best. Here's what they do. Technique. We don't show curves in the spine. We do the AP open mouth nasium, which shows where the subluxation is. See, if you stick to your knitting, I used to knit when I was a little boy. My grandmother.
I grew up sewing.
Yeah. My grandmother used to think it was good for I'd calm down when I knit. And it was really good for it takes a lot of dexterity, a lot of concentration. It was good for me. And you can see that my hands, people will tell you when I palpate them and adjust them, it's a difference. There's a difference when Dr. Fred adjusts. They call it a Dr. Fred in the office. See, because it's afferentation adjusting. See, what goes in is more important than what comes out, because you can almost guarantee what comes out if you work on the input. My goodness.
I'm going to finish up these affirmations, and then we'll talk about this love frequency. Okay. I am organized, energized, strong, and creative. I wholeheartedly believe these things. I empower that stuff. Like when people see me, they know that there's a serious man in front of them because I tell myself this.
Correct.
And then all of my affairs are in divine order. I pray daily, guys. You have to be right with the man upstairs in order to be right with yourself. If you ever want to make impact on this world, you have to be right with yourself. You have to have divine order. And Fred, the things that you taught me over the past 10 years, invaluable. When people question the chiropractic profession, I don't worry because we have you. I know that you're out there turning on the minds of the people that are going to be the leaders, and they're going to be the ones that go out there and take care of people. And that's what we need big people out there doing big things, and they need to be right with the man upstairs too, though.
Well, that starts with there's no upstairs, by the way. There's no man up there. See?
Sort me out.
I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy, Jim. And I always asked the nuns, did Adam and Eve have a belly button? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, baby. No wonder I went to boarding school at 12. Because you ask questions like that, you get into trouble.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, Movo University, the Universal Tractioning System, Imaging Services, and Zingit Solutions. Let's hustle. Yes, sir.
So the frequency is love. Now, the old timers used to say technique is my first. Love is my first technique. And that goes back to Thurman Fleet, way back. Back into the 20s, man. George Shear. He was one of the wealthiest chiropractors in Indiana. Way back, Jim. And he was all money, baby. And then he got sick. Because sickness will define you. See, you get sick and you touch. Like I was in a coma for 3 days when my finger got bust. This finger doesn't move. And it was bust open. And so for 3 days, I wasn't here. My physiology was here, but I was in hospital. And I tell this story because If you haven't been close to that door, you don't know what I'm talking about. And there was a guy in the ward. I was in Italy. I couldn't speak the language. And there was this guy, Armando. And Armando used to come and pray over me, like for those 3 days. And he said, you're going to get better, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be stronger. And he loved me like a son. We became great friends. He was an older man. He was like my grandfather. This is 1976. And that defines you. When my brother passed on, he was a chiropractor and he was killed in a car accident. Adrian Schofield. Great guy. Great guy. And we did. And then he passed on. And when the whip cracks close by, hey, Fred, why are you so intense? Because the whip cracked real close. When your father passes on, and then your nephew at 17, and then 18, you start to thank this infinite presence, this frequency of love that we live in. We're actually all brothers and sisters. There's actually no separation. We think there is. But we're all going to go into the same frequency, and there are different frequencies. If you go in on the love, if you direct intention, I intend to serve loving service to my patients through my hands. My goodness. You watch the patients, they will start to feel it. And it's a funny thing, if you do what we tell you to do, you'll do it. I have a secret weapon called Susan Schofield. You've met Susan Schofield. And we have raised some of the finest children in the world. And not only my personal family, but other children as well, that we just took on board, and their lives will never be the same. They'll never have to struggle. They will have to read their affirmations. They will have to get on Corella, because you'd be crazy not to. You won't wait until something knocks you down because you're stressed out psychologically and you're in the amygdala that does not go forward. It always goes back. You got to get housed in the hippocampus. That goes forward, and it goes forward with happiness. It goes forward with love, joy. Joy to the world, all the boys and girls. Joy to you and me. That's
Yeah,
what
man.
it's all about, man. At the end of the day, how much you made, really? Really? Like God's asking Steve Jobs how much he made? No, man, don't be silly now. Don't be silly. Those are earthly things. Get above that. You got to follow the inner voice, the innate voice. But most people, when we get them into mindfulness meditation and prayer work and Tai Chi, I've got some CDs on all that stuff. Just on my daily routine, if you just do a little bit. My Tai Chi one's fantastic. It's, when they do this, that when they did this, those quarterbacks, remember?
Yeah.
Remember who did it?
Aaron Rodgers.
This is a Tai Chi move, moving forward, moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Stop going back. You never liked it there anyway. Why? Who the hell cares if your mother didn't like you or your daddy didn't like you? Who cares? You're 40 years old. Grow up, man. Do you like you?
So I know that you've been talking about this perpetual forward motion. You have a word that you use. What's the origin of the Mochichu, and what does it mean for people to learn that?
Mochichu is a samurai Zen phrase, and it means perceptual awareness. It means moving straight ahead. It means intuitive awareness, knowing where you are at all times. So you have to be present. So you have to be present. When you're in your thoughts and you're all negative thoughts, your body goes into fear. So it goes into subluxation. But if you go there with an open hand, there is a difference between that and that. There's a difference. And we train not to fight. Jim, I'm a black belt, a first dan in karate, Shoin-ryu, Okinawan kickboxing karate. I'm going to kick your ass. Karate. No, I'm serious. I got so tired of fighting. It took me 7 years to get my first dan. And then the little voice said, Fred, there's no old people in this gym. And then I moved towards Tai Chi, towards the inner, because I was always fascinated by that something in chiropractic, that inner kingdom, the internal, what's going on the inside. Patients never tell you, I got pain in my shoulder. No, that's not pain, that's inflammation. I can cut your shoulder, I'd probably see nothing there. Well, I got pain in my leg. Where in your leg? Does it go below the knee? Yeah, well, then it can't be L1 or L2. Does it go to the knee and stop? Oh, it could be L3, L4. Does it go down to my heel? L5. Does it go to my toes? S1. You got to know that stuff, man. You say, turn the power on and all that philosophy stuff. I don't need that. I never studied that. I studied technique. I studied the frequency of healing, Jim. The frequency of love. Love has to do with healing.
Do you know this guy, Jason Berghaus?
Yeah, I know him, Jason. Dr. Jason.
He says, amen, Fred. Love it, bro. I plant the seed of abundance in the soils of my subconscious mind. AR3 principle. Learned all these things from you, brother. Listened to you in school and still listen to you now 10 years later.
I'm a lifelong pal, man.
That's a big shout out.
He's doing good, man. He's doing good. And you know what I like about the guys, I know when they started and I know how the struggles. I know the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't struggle, as you know, starting this business, it's a tough struggle.
Oh.
My goodness. And we've got a Rhino digital membership, Jim, that they can go to rhinou.com, and for a $197 a month, I think it is, if they use Dr. Fred 100, they can get all our stuff, videos, 1,500, everything that has to do with closing an office. But we're interested in opening your office, not closing it. Screw the close. Open it up for business, man. People are hurting out there.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, just look at the stats, man. Look at the stats. It's just staggering. We got little kid, and they have to say their affirmation when they come to my office. Because one little girl, the teacher in first grade said, you're not smart enough. Maths is not for girls. And I went, that is just illegal. You should not be a teacher. You know what? That little girl came first in maths class. She's the smartest because we had an affirmation for that. I am confident and I love learning maths. I'm a genius at sciences. And she actually, it's been 18 months now, is now top of her class in the sciences. Don't tell me affirmations don't work. I've got a bunch of teachers who teach it in their classes. Should be taught. BJ had it all over the school. The affirmations. They are actually called affirmative prayer. That's where they come from. Affirmative means say it like it is. Say it like it is. DDNP. Double-digit new patients.
Hey, if you guys want double-digit new patients and you want some coaching from Dr. Fred, put in the comments hashtag DDNP, and he'll tune you guys up so you guys can be, the beacon of light in your community, providing chiropractic care with your hands to the people that need it. And like you said, Amazon can't take away chiropractic.
Nope, no can do. None of the technology affects us, although Zingit is good. Patients, the reason why, because we're patient-based, Jim. See, patients come to us because they love us. See, and when they love you, and they put rhinos tattooed, I mean, I've got Mochichu. I mean, I'm committed. That means you're committed.
Mm-hmm.
I got my Chiro at the bottom of my pool. I'm in. I'm all in. Now, we do have some trainings. We have an Indaba coming up, which Indaba is an African word for the meeting of the wise council. So all our guys, over 100 coming into Phoenix, and they come in July. It's nice and hot. Beautiful resorts in Phoenix, by the way, in July. Lie by the pool. You have to get chilled out because all work and no play is stress. See? The only thing is you don't see pictures of me on a vacation because I like to stay at home. I actually like my home. I'm one of the few guys who I live in my original home. I got a tennis court. What more do you want? I've got a gym. What more do you want? I have a Tai Chi. What more do you want? I have an orange tree, a lemon tree, a grapefruit tree. I got a swimming pool. I got my own barbecue. We roasted. I did listen to this, lobster, a mayo lobster done over the barbie on a romaine lettuce wrap.
Woo!
My goodness.
Well,
and then we have trainings in Oakland in September,
mm-hmm.
October, Chicago, and December, Arizona, the most important. 1st of December, you be in Arizona because it's the most important. It sets up the scenario mapping, which most people don't know anything about. But Shell and the big guns know all about scenario planning.
I'll be there.
I'm telling you, and you set the vision. And Jim, I read a goal today that is on our 40-year goal that we set when I graduated. Said, I'm going to be worth this amount in 40 years' time and 50 years' time. And I'm on track to hit that. And it's a massive goal. It's like, you say, what? Oh, you could never do that. Oh, man, now. Settle down. I retired in 1978 when I found chiropractic. I said, I'm going to spend my life doing this. So
Brilliant.
I'm retired. And I live in Arizona. So, I'm retired. Well, how much money do you make? More than you. Carry on. Who cares, man? Double-digit new patients.
Mochichu, baby.
It is. It's the game. But double-digit gives the freedom to the game.
Mm-hmm.
When a doctor does 10 new patients or more, we got some doctors doing 20 a week, 10 a day, Jim. 10 a day. And they go, well, come to the seminar and get all motivated. If you ain't motivated at 5 a day, you'll never be motivated. 30 a week, 40 a week, or referral. You don't have to do a screening. It's right here. But it's going to take longer than you anticipated. That's what I'm going to tell you. And we're going to use a thing called, in quantum physics, called space-time. Space-time. We're going to send it into the ether, and through time, which is frequency. I always call it innate, is consolidated energy, solidification of energy. When you solidify and your goals become real, like you have been training now for what, 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
But it's taken you 10 years to get to where you are now.
And now people would
think... And now it's going to start, and when it does... Because innate moves at the speed of light. The speed of love. 528 frequency. Hertz.
I got this wristband here that says, I trust my innate intelligence.
You better. It knows more about you than anybody. In fact, it created you, by the way. You did not create yourself. Man thinks he did. But he didn't. That's why the most important thing that I teach, Jim, that nobody else teaches, is do your meditation, take your beads, order some beads. They're beautiful beads, by the way. We have the most beautiful beads. And they're counting beads. There's 108 of these. And you do them for 108 days. And I guarantee you, an old timer taught me, if you pray when you're not in trouble, you don't get into trouble. If you pray when you're not in trouble, you don't get into trouble. Most people don't know how to pray. most is 80% of people that come to me are praying to an anthropomorphic frequency that's out there. But it ain't out there. It said, seek ye first the kingdom within. Within. And that's what these little booklets are all about, the frequency. And then this one was the physiology of the innate mind power. And then the first one I wrote was the physiology of success, or the physiology of excellence. Most amazing concepts. Be ye transformed. And how should I do it? By the renewing of my mind. I've never shown those before, Jim. I've never shown those before.
Well, this is always an amazing time getting some one-on-one with you. I believe that us doing what we did today, we're going to turn some minds on. We're going to change the way people think about love one each other. We're going to change the way people think about prayer to where they're doing it on a daily, consistent basis to fill themselves up, not when they need it, but when it's just a common thing for them to do. And I think that the more that we get that grounding and we do the meditations and the affirmations, we become bigger than life. We become bigger versions of ourselves.
Yes, and, we need to be big.
We do.
First of all, we got the big idea.
Mm-hmm. All else follows now, buddy.
So let's be big. Otherwise,
yes, sir.
When you see 516 patients in a day, you'll be stunned. You don't talk a lot. You just say, spread the word, tell your friends.
Mm-hmm. Whip out cards.
WOC, Wonders of Chiropractic, whip out card. I've had patients, because on the back of our cards are just fantastic. I always put a little saying. I don't have a card with me right here. That's crazy. But
I've seen it. I'll take a picture of one and push it in here.
Yeah,
I'll put it in the chat.
And it was a divine order radiates throughout my affairs. And you won't believe, a patient came in 30 years later, Jim, and had the card. And she said, this affirmation has got me through everything in my life. I went, my goodness. That's amazing. Man. Isn't it amazing?
It is.
To be blessed with this innate wisdom.
Well, we're coming up on the edge of our show, Fred. We said we were going to do 30. We did about 45. I'm gonna say some shout outs and thank our sponsor, if that's okay.
That's okay.
Cindy Elwart Shaft-Toll, thank you so much for supporting us with the Women's Chiropractic Group. Michael Tokash, thank you for supporting us with Imaging Services. Anna Olivetti, thank you for being on with us. Burger House, love you, bro. Thank you for doing what you do, stepping up so big. We have Takashi Shikawa, who is a Japanese chiropractor, and he commented as soon as you were talking about Kung Fu and Karate. And Paul Roses says, Mochichu. What's up, Paul? Michael Tokash has been our most expert commenter today. He says that he would drive from Philly to come get adjusted by you. He thinks he's going to come down and do your install himself. So if he comes and does the install, I'm coming with him, by the way. And then we have a South African guy on here, Michael Timothy Wayne. He said, Middle C, love it, resonating nicely here. And Michael Tokash is all over this chat feed. Barbara Eaton says, hey, you two, Jim Chester and Fred Schofield. And we have Ruben Armando Contreras Jimenez says, let's find my ear pods. Saludos. And we have Philip Roger, who I'm going to do some training with and teach him how to do some podcasting. I'm also going to do some training with FJ and teach him how to do this type of technology. But just want to say thank you to everybody that's been on this live feed with us. Thanks. You, Dr. Fred Schofield, for sharing your heart and to share your mind with so many people that need it. Brad Elliser, you came in at the last comment with a thumbs up. Thank you for joining us today. I just want to say thank you to all those over at Zingit Solutions for supporting us with their dollars. Dollars equal opportunity for us to keep the free speech alive and well in chiropractic, and to be this megaphone that there was such a void of for so many years, where nobody was really stepping up and staying consistent and driving home the message of chiropractic every day. So thank you to Zing It for supporting us and sponsoring us, allowing me to be the megaphone for this beautiful profession of chiropractic. And if it's okay if I close out, Fred?
Yes, sir.
You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. See you guys on the next one. Love you, Fred. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.